And I am currently here in Crete in the function as a coordinator of a pathway project, which is a 3-year project, which is now in the 3rd year, where we bring together every year teachers from all over Europe, building up a community. That means this teacher work together for 5 days in this wonderful environment on specific topics. But the common umbrella, the common vision of this working together is inquiry-based learning. That means becoming a researcher, becoming a scientist when solving a scientific issue in a classroom. And one major issue of this pathway project is building up a community of European teachers, of European science.
As I understand it, the overall idea was to initiate a number of individual projects as part of the Pathways project to show different dimensions of an inquiry-based science education. And initially, of course, struggling with and clarifying what was scientific inquiry, which they've done, and then transferring those ideas to teachers and having teachers design programs that they think will work in classrooms, and they have done that. And I think they've been very, very successful in showing that, first of all, teachers can develop materials that represent an inquiry-based approach to science education, and that they are just poised to move to another dimension, which would be to implement these programs very widely across the European Union.
So we've been invited here by the Pathways project to look at what they've done, to comment on it, to make our critique, and then to make recommendations. We're working in 4 2.5-hour sessions, dealing with different aspects of the project. And so that's the format. What we have discovered is that a lot of work has been done to bring inquiry-based science education to Europe. And it's not just through this project, but this project is a repository of many other projects that took place beforehand. So I'll tell you what I've found out that I think is interesting. The fact that there are 10,000 teachers that have been affected by this project. The fact that there's a repository of best practices from other projects and from teachers here. I think that's interesting. Also that there's a summer school where science teachers are able to learn about inquiry-based science education, to get experience in it, and also to get experience with the repository so they can upload their best practices. So I think those are all very interesting and noteworthy.
Currently, we are also doing a symposium here with science educators from all over the world. They are coming from the west coast of America until, of course, Europe and also Israel. And we are here together for 3 days to discuss these issues of science education in a more modern context. The reason for meeting here is all of the experts did the work for the last 30 years in science education, and we try to build together a vision how the things could develop in the next 5 to 10 years in terms of fundings, in terms of supporting teachers.
So at this point, what we are doing is we have a smaller group that's part of Pathways, engaging in a discussion and kind of focused dialogue and to some degree debate about what might be the next step. What can we do to increase this project to a scale of something like 1 million teachers in the science teachers in the European Union? And that's been a pretty focused discussion for a couple of days, and the outcome would be what organization or group might take the next step to implement more widely across the European Union science inquiry as approach to science teaching.
Η προσπάθεια που γίνεται εδώ έχει σαν στόχο τη δημιουργία της Ευρωπαϊκής Ακαδημίας Επιστημών, που θα κάνει μια έτσι σημαντική συνδρομή στην διαμόρφωση των εκπαιδευτικών συστημάτων των ευρωπαϊκών χωρών όσον αφορά στην εισαγωγή του ανακαλυπτικού μοντέλου μάθησης. Επικεντρώνει το ενδιαφέρον της στην κατάρτιση των εκπαιδευτικών σε μοντέλα κατάρτισης που έχουν πραγματικά σημαντικά αποτελέσματα για να διαφοροποιηθεί το πεδίο το οποίο λαμβάνουμε έτσι σαν δεδομένα από τις διεθνείς έρευνες, όπως είναι η PISA και άλλες που γίνονται βέβαια σε εθνικό επίπεδο. Όλα δείχνουν ότι υπάρχει ένα πολύ περιορισμένο ενδιαφέρον των μαθητών για τις φυσικές επιστήμες και αυτό το πρόβλημα ξεκινάει, υπάρχουν και άλλοι παράγοντες, αλλά ένας σημαντικός παράγοντας είναι ο τρόπος που διδάσκουμε τις φυσικές επιστήμες. Οπότε θεωρούμε σαν Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση Φυσικών ότι θα πρέπει να γίνουν κάποιες κινήσεις που αφορούν κυρίως στην κατάρτιση των εκπαιδευτικών και μάλιστα, όπως λέμε, στην κατάρτιση που λαμβάνει η χώρα μετά από την αρχική τους εκπαίδευση, από τη στιγμή που βρίσκονται στα σχολεία. Οι συζητήσεις επικεντρώνονται σε 4 άξονες, στη δημιουργία ενός πλαισίου το οποίο καθορίζει τι είναι η ανακαλυπτική μάθηση και πώς μπορεί να εφαρμοστεί στα αναλυτικά προγράμματα των σχολείων. Στο δεύτερο επίπεδο είναι πώς εντοπίζουμε καλές πρακτικές με τη χρήση του ανακαλυπτικού μοντέλου. Η τρίτη είναι πώς μπορούμε να κινητοποιήσουμε τους εκπαιδευτικούς και να τους πείσουμε να υιοθετήσουν την ανακαλυπτική μάθηση στην εκπαιδευτική διαδικασία, στην καθημερινή τους πρακτική. Και το τέταρτο είναι να δούμε όλοι μαζί μια σειρά από καλές πρακτικές που έχουν αναδείξει, να το πούμε έτσι, τις δυνατότητες της ανακαλυπτικής μάθησης πιστοποιημένα, με συστηματική αξιολόγηση έχουν δείξει ότι επιτυχάνουμε καλύτερα μαθησιακά αποτελέσματα.
But since 15 years I am occupying also with societies, especially with physical societies. So I first was president of Polish Physical Society, and during my job I tried to join different sub-societies, for example, sub-society of teachers with sub-society of scientists. Because in contemporary world it's very important that people are working together. Scientists with teachers, men working with industry, with scientists and with teachers as well. So when I was elected president of European Physical Society, I realized immediately that there are not very good connections between teachers and scientists. European Physical Society is mainly society of scientists, and only few teachers belong to society. But in contemporary world, we cannot imagine existence of science without teaching, without promotion of results, without interaction of teachers, scientists, and people which are working for education of pedagogy of education, say. So we have 3 subgroups not strongly interacting. So in such a moment one to try to find solution, and solution is to construct forum on which the 3 groups interact, meets, discuss, and are coming to common conclusions. And such an idea, it's old like ancient Greek. It means it's so-called forum or academia. So in a way, in the program of me as president of EPS, as former president of EPS, was to construct forum or academia of education. Academia in the sense of forum on which teachers meet another teachers, but also scientists, and they are discussing common problems. And now, after a few years, it's time to conclude. And time to conclude, it's to form Academy of Education, and academy as forum from one side. It means place when we discuss things, teacher discussing, teacher show his abilities, show his methods, and also as a library of methods. It means that if a teacher obtains interesting result, he can put movies and materials into certain place. Of course, there are thousands of such places, but we should have something like library, like repository. And additionally, from point of view of progress of professional development, it is very good to have such a repository like journal. It means each something which is put inside should have peer review. In such a case, teacher can obtain higher position because he can say that he has certain amount of articles, movies, which were peer reviewed, and it means that they are appropriate in a manner to show to different people. So I think that academy, on the basis of pathway, it's very interesting proposal, and I hope that we will achieve it. It means that we will organize academy